Reaching the pinnacle of your sport is difficult, and in becoming one of the elite athletes to play a game for money comes along gauges of how good you are as a player. And like it or not, stats don't always objectively tell you how good or bad a player is, either for just 1 year or for their entire career. But then there are some records that are pretty obvious indicators of suckitude. Once again, we are back, and this time it's 5 NFL records nobody wants. Number 5. Most fumbles in a season, running back, Joe Cribbs, 16. A running back has a very specific job. Run the ball, get as many yards as you can, and for God's sakes, don't fumble the ball. And in 1980, Joe Cribbs of the Buffalo Bills got 2 out of 3 of these right. Now, Joe, a rookie at the time, did manage to rush for 1,185 yards and score 11 TDs, but his fumble-itis was pretty epic when you consider that nearly every player above and below Cribbs on the single-season fumble leaderboard is a quarterback, and those guys get blindsided by huge men while gently holding the ball with the intent of throwing it. Cribbs was selected to 3 Pro Bowls and did play in 7 NFL seasons, and also sued the Buffalo Bills so that he could play in the USFL. Talk about your backfires. Number 4. Most blocked field goals in a season, 5. 2011, Washington Redskins. Yes, you heard that right. Most blocked field goals in a season. You'd think that would be a good record to have now, wouldn't you? Unless you are the one whose kick is getting blocked. And in 2011, the 5-11 Washington Redskins got blocked more times than Christoph Porzingis trying to holler at an Instagram model. 5 times to be exact. Now, mind you, this was before they banned the leap onto your boy's back and put cleat marks into his flesh block, but still, getting swatted 5 times in a year is pretty bad if you ask me. Graham Gano was the kicker on all of these. Poor fella, got more blocks than my Twitter account. Follow me at 5pointsvids. Number 3, most career games played, no playoff appearances, Takeo Spikes, 219. Now, this isn't necessarily a record of suckitude. It's more of a record of, man, you were probably pretty good on some very, very shitty teams. And Takeo Spikes is the embodiment of that. Let's just list out the teams that Spikes played for, and you will understand why he played 15 years without once even being part of a team that made the playoffs. The Cincinnati Bengals, before they had Marvin Lewis to choke away playoff games. The Buffalo Bills, nothing else to add. The Eagles, who finished 8-8. The 49ers, when Mike Singletary was their coach.
Cannot play with them. Cannot win with them. Cannot coach with them. Can't do it.
And lastly, the San Diego Chargers. Just the place for Takeo to schlep his misery along with him, and they could be 2 peas in a pod. Takeo was a 2-time Pro Bowler, though, so he has that going for him. Number 2, most playoff losses coach. No Super Bowls, Marty Schottenheimer, 13. Oh, Marty, the guy who was dubbed as the man who couldn't get it done. Marty the disciplinarian, the rigid, patient coaching style, that ridiculous Greg Norman style hat, and the coach with the most playoff losses to never even sniff the Super Bowl's panties. 13 times Marty Schittenpantser took a team through the grueling regular season, and 13 times they were packing up their lockers before Super Bowl Sunday. He did make it to 3 AFC Championship games and was on the other side of John Elway's drive and Ernest Biner's fumble. The city of Cleveland ought to give him a medal for taking the Browns that far, and how fitting would it be for Marty to set the epic rolling failness of Cleveland football firmly in motion. Of course, my favorite season is in 2001 when Marty was hired to coach the Redskins. Yeah, that was supposed to be the super team of super teams. Dan Snyder put so much hype around a team that featured Jeff George as their starting QB, you would have thought they were making a shitty big budget film directed by Michael Bay. And they started out 0-5 and finished 8-8. And fired Marty. Of course, Marty would cap his failure in 2006 when he led the San Diego Chargers, who had LaDainian and Phillip Rivers, to a 14-2 record. And they lost in the first round, and Marty got fired. However, Marty did go on to coach one more time in the UFL, where he led the Virginia Destroyers over the Las Vegas Locomotives to the UFL Championship in 2011. Sweet, sweet justice, Mr. Schottenheimer. I knew you had it in you all along. Number 1, career interceptions. Brett Favre, 336. You knew the list couldn't be complete if I didn't include the old gunslinger on here, the Cy Young of NFL records. Yes, the Hall of Famer was one magnificent slinger of the rock and won many, many games. But with all that success and his willingness to try and force the ball into very tight windows led to a record that is way far ahead of the pack. At 336, Favre is 59 ahead of George Blanda, who has 277. Now, Favre did play 19 years, but that's still an amazing average of 17 pickles a year, his most being 29 in 2005. I will say, though, in 2009, Favre was unbelievable with the Vikings, throwing 33 TDs and only 7 picks. He was efficient, simple, effective, headstrong, and a beast all year, right up until that NFC Championship game. Ah, Brett, this record is all you, mostly because Jay Cutler retired. Agree with my list? Think I left any off? Leave a like, comment, or subscribe. And as always, I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to the end of this video.